13, standing in front of a panel of judges, clutching a stack of notes. It's my first impromptu debate tournament, and my partner, a volleyball player, looks as nervous as I feel. Our assigned topic? Why soccer is better than lacrosse. That might not sound hard, unless you're me, because I love, love, love lacrosse. I've played it for years. I know the rules, the plays, and the history. And here I am, with 20 minutes to prepare. A volleyball player and a lacrosse player, so qualified to argue for soccer. We make our case. Soccer costs less, soccer is more popular, and anyone can play soccer. And you know what? We ended up winning the debate. But here's the thing. I didn't feel like a winner, because deep down, I knew I didn't believe what I just said. I'd put on a convincing act, but it wasn't me. That was just one afternoon, but in middle school, I started doing the same thing. Except it wasn't about sports anymore, it was about me. Before middle school, I didn't overthink who I was. I played, I laughed, I made mistakes that didn't feel like the end of the world. That was up until I transferred into a new school, known for being very competitive. Like students do calculus for fun, competitive. I got my first math test of the year back. I got 90% right. I was proud of my score. That was up until I saw Lily, quiet, reserved, the teacher's favorite, crying in the bathroom. Lily, did you not do well? Terrible, only 97%. Wait, what? That's when something in me shifted. If 97% was terrible here, what did that make me? I made a quiet decision. Riana, work harder, be better, hide your feelings and keep up. And it wasn't just about grades. I started noticing what the cool girls wore, what they laughed at, how they talked like they didn't care about school, while secretly acing every test. So I wore makeup. I laughed at jokes I did not find funny. I basically became a knockoff version of someone else, like the Wish.com version of Rihanna. I tried to jam a square into a circle. At first, I thought I could fit. They're both shapes, right? But the only way I could make myself fit was to break off my square corners. And those corners, they're the things that make me me. That's what I was doing, simply cutting off pieces of myself just to fit a space I was never meant for. But it's not just me. What I went through happens to many teens. Pew Research Center reports roughly 68% of teens say they feel a fair amount or a great deal of pressure to get good grades, and that nearly 41% of us feels pressure to fit in socially. Futurity.org presents that 81% of American teenagers say that they feel negative pressure in at least one area, such as their future, achievements, their appearance, or their social life. So when I felt like my 90% wasn't good enough, I wasn't alone. For some teens, similar feelings bring tragedy. Alyssa Giacobbe from Boston Magazine recalled a 2010 story of Phoebe Prince, a 15-year-old girl in Boston, Massachusetts, who died by suicide after enduring months of bullying from her classmates. Much of the reports targeted Phoebe for being different, and reports revealed Phoebe felt as if she didn't belong in her new school community. Maybe Phoebe was like me, trying to fit a square into a circle. When teens choose to be their real selves, we break the cycle of bending and reshaping to fit in, and instead we grow up, knowing exactly who we are. One day, I saw Lily again, upset about another grade. This time, I didn't pretend. I told her, hey, I used to feel that way too, but a grade doesn't define you, and it definitely doesn't determine if you belong. She nodded, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I wasn't blending in, but I was connecting. That's when I made a different decision. I'd rather be real and respected than liked and lost. And here's the part where you come in. If you've ever cut off pieces of yourself just to fit in, today's the day to stop. Stop apologizing for the corners that make you you. Stop changing to match a crowd that doesn't even see the real you. Choose honesty, choose connection, but choose yourself. Because that's the version of you that's true. That's the one worth celebrating. What I've learned is changing yourself for the appeal of others might win you attention, but it will cost you yourself. And that's too high of a price. So don't shrink to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. Don't trade your voice for their validation. Be loud if you're loud. Be quiet if you're quiet. Be silly, be smart, be serious, but be real. Because that's the version of you that's true. That's the one worth celebrating. You never have to change who you are for the appeal of anyone, ever. And by the way, lacrosse is a much better sport than soccer.